right, we're alive. Hi, Lana.
Hi, Carrie.
I'm so glad that you're here. You are one busy woman. Where were you right before this?
I was in Chicago. Oh, you mean right before this moment?
I,
Or
I know your trip to
I
Chicago.
was,
I don't know if you were somewhere else too. I've been following your travels and all your wonderful.
yeah, just Chicago was a week ago. And this morning I just taught two classes. And yeah, just got a quick lunch in before to break my fast before this.
Oh, that's great. That's really,
Yeah.
really great. I know she's one of my intermittent fasting friends, and we have been friends for a really long time, right? How long has it been?
I think around 17 years.
Okay. So,
Yeah, somewhere around there.
and I can tell you, Lana is like one of the greatest mentors I've ever had, and one of the greatest partners I've ever had. I've learned so much, and it's been fun to go down to Florida and play with you and in your space, and to watch you and everything you do. And I don't want to give it away. I'm gonna let you tell your story. But instead of doing a bio, what we do on Essential Stories is we play a little game called This or That. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go. This or that. Would you rather be asked the same question over and over again or never be spoken to?
Uh, Ask the same question.
There you go.
Uh,
Okay. Would you rather be unable to close any door once it's open or be unable to open any door once it's closed?
oh, I don't even understand that. I'm going to say the first one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know it's a very metaphysical question.
that was like convoluted for me.
Right, right, right. Would you rather wear clothes that are always too big or a couple of sizes too small?
Oh, too big.
Too big. Who
Oh,
wants to be
yeah.
uncomfortable?
Oh, no. Yeah, that would be bad. I would not like that.
Ah. Okay, here's a very modern question. Would you rather only be able to wash your hair twice a year or only be able to check your phone once a day?
Would definitely the phone.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Wash my hair. All
Wash my hair. Got to wash my hair more than
right.
twice a year,
Twice a year seems extreme. Yeah.
I would say.
Ah. Um, oh, this is an interesting one. Would you rather have aliens be real but covered up by the government, or have no extraterrestrial life in the universe at all?
Oh no, the first one definitely. Yeah, aliens be real.
Aliens be real, right? Like,
Yeah,
don't limit anything, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, this one's probably easy for you. This one's kind of fun. This is easy for you, I think. Never be able to eat cookies ever again, or only ever drink water.
Oh, only ever drink water.
Right.
Definitely.
Is that even a question?
Oh, is that even a question? Yeah. Is that the last?
That's the last one. And that shows you how health focused Lana is because that wasn't even a choice, right? The water. We have to be able to drink water. But we're going to go against the water and we're going to start talking about essential oils. I want you to think back to your earliest memory of using or experiencing an essential oil. Can you think of when that was?
Um, I was trying to think about that, and I have two thoughts, and I'm not sure which came first. It's like the chicken or the egg, you know.
Yeah.
I I had, I guess, the first experience I had was with an aroma touch type situation with Gina and Irene.
Okay.
They came down to Florida, or it could have been with Justin Harrison introducing me when I came up to New Jersey. with what this was really a strong memory when he was there, and I don't know if I was at your house or at a facility or where,
Okay.
but I remember him vividly putting the peppermint on his palm and rubbing it and inhaling it, and then he passed it around, and it was like, wow. That was very instrumental for me in my journey with essential oils.
So you don't remember using them, like they weren't around when you were a kid or other parts of
Never.
your life. So this was like brand new.
Well, like you, my dad was a doctor and there were no essential oils around. No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's important because I think for a lot of people, watching this might be the first time they've even heard the word essential oil. Although I feel like it's becoming more common, more mainstream, and
Yeah.
lots of foods and cleaners. And we know those aren't real essential oils. So
Yeah.
you experienced the peppermint. Let's keep going with that story. What was it about that made you think twice and start to ask questions about oils?
Well, I think the whole experience with Justin really changed my whole approach, because I remember that he was talking to people who knew way more than I did. I was just a newbie at that time, and it's a long time ago.
Right.
And at that moment, I remember also vividly, these are the two memories I have there, which really encouraged me to go forward on the journey. And that was, he was talking about the best way to share this with people was to have your own story.
Mm.
And I put my hand up sheepishly because I didn't have a story. And I said, well, I don't have a story. And he said, you'll get one. And I thought, okay, I'm waiting for my story. I'm waiting for my story. But yeah, that kind of influenced me into the power of the peppermint and understanding what it does. And then having this story thing, which I hadn't, it was all very new to me. So it was very exciting concepts for me.
So, do you remember what you purchased for the first time? Like, what oils did you decide to play around with?
I got the box, whatever the box was.
Whatever's in the box.
Whatever was in the box. I know there was frankincense. I know there was lemon. I know there was clove, I believe. Maybe eucalyptus. Um, what else was in there? But I do remember those. I did get the box.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you have your first story? Like when did you have your first oil experience that you can remember? Because I know you've had many.
Well, I have had several, but the one that really, I'm not necessarily saying this is the first, because there were so many that were there, but this was, I think, the most important one for
Okay.
me. And that was about, I'm going to say about 7 years ago, and I had been working with oils for a long time before, but like I say, they were minor things
Okay.
that they were working with me and my family dramatically, but this was more dramatic. And I went to my dermatologist at the time because I had something on this arm, and she looked at it and she said, well, I'm not going to diagnose it, but I'm going to bose it and take the biopsy or
Okay.
biopsy. So before I left, I said to her, well, I really didn't want to have that done because I wanted to have no invasion. And I want 30 days to do my frankincense and my DDR prime. And she said, what is that? And I said, well, frankincense is from the Bible. And I was telling her the story of the baby Jesus and the three wise men and all of that. And she was like looking at me like, oh, she says, oh, you mean homeopathic? And I said, no, it's actually an essential oil. And I said, the next time I come, I'm going to bring you hundreds of PubMed studies about apoptosis and frankincense. And she was like, this was so foreign to her. So she said, well, I said, I want 30 days. That's what I
Okay.
want. And she said, oh, that's too long. Anyway, they called me. Oh no, she had taken it and told me it was a squamous cell carcinoma.
Wow, that's a significant diagnosis.
That's a significant diagnosis because you've got the basal cell, you've got the squamous cell, and you've got the melanoma. And she had said that the squamous cell is really dangerous because it can go into your lymph system. And she was very unhappy about my choice and what I was doing. I said, well, give me the 30 days and you'll see. After 30 days, I come back and she looks and she says, where is it? And I said, it's gone. And she said, oh, it must have been the biopsy. And I said, no, it was not the biopsy. It was the frankincense. Oh, the homeopathic stuff. I said, no, essential oil. Fast forward, since that time, I had 5 more squamous cell carcinomas, which I then recognized because I had had the first one. I
Right.
treated them all exactly the same way with my frankincense 3-4 times a day, topically. I had been taking 1 DDR prime every day prior to that. So I upped it to 2. And all of them, the one on my face was a little more stubborn and it probably took about 40 days.
Oh, wow, that's still really quick.
So that's my big story because I mean, to me, I have so many clients and patients and people that come to my classes who, are there with bandages and all these things
Yeah.
for basal cell. And I try and tell them my story, but it's very unusual for people to understand that there's another way, and it's a much more simple, much more natural, and much more beneficial way to treat your body most of the time.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, so I know you live in Florida, born in South Africa, spent a lot of time in the sun, I would think, right? And
Yeah,
still
lived on a boat for 3 years.
lived on a boat. Okay,
All
for three
sun,
years.
yeah, and I have very fair skin.
Yes, you do.
I have light eyes, and that's like a recipe for disaster in terms of skin cancer.
Right. So if if someone out there is listening to this, first, we're not giving medical advice. We're sharing essential stories, right? Everybody's path and everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
I know you live a super clean life. Your diet is impeccable. You exercise in so many different ways, your mind, your body, your spirit. You're also, and we can give all the credentials, but in terms of exercise physiology, you're a professional. So you're not necessarily someone who anybody else could just do the same thing you did and always get the same result. We're not saying that. It's been your whole life has been sort of a big, you have a lot in your toolbox, I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right? Use a lot of different tools. And you were smart and you went and got a diagnosis, and then, using the knowledge that you had, you applied it so beautifully and it came out, great. We're so excited about your success. Do you feel like for someone who may come from the same background, spent a lot of time in the sun, or has very fair skin, fair eyes, that you would encourage them to be using the frankincense, like as a preventative or as
Yes.
like a daily habit? Is it something you continue to use
Oh,
or you've moved
daily.
on from it?
Oh, daily. I use
Okay.
it daily. I have the DDR Prime daily. The frankincense, I'm not going to say I use it daily. I'm probably because I
You go through a lot of
change it up.
different oils. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I go
what is
through a
that?
lot of different oils, which is what I think is healthy.
So talk about that, because you're the first person that we've gotten to like get into that issue, I think is really important. How do you choose the oils that you use on a daily basis, and why do you rotate through them?
Well, I have a whole story about that, and the I am a brain longevity specialist, so I am all about brain and brain oils. And in fact, I want to just let you know that I change it up because I really believe that's important. I do the same with supplements. I don't have the same supplements every day because I do believe, just like with exercise, that your body reaches a plateau and
Okay.
that you can't. Uh, I mean, it's fine. You should do something every day, but you know what Pablo Coelho said.
Yes.
He wrote The Alchemist.
Alchemist. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, if you think adventure is dangerous, try routine. It's
Mhm.
lethal. And I do believe that I really believe in that because I think routine and regimen are words that are make you feel like you've got repetitive stuff you have to be doing, and it's boring and it's repetitive, and that's what he's referring to, really, I think.
Right.
And
Not brushing your teeth every day. We're not telling people, to stop
no,
doing that. No, we're not talking about that.
so I
Total.
want to,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is citronella oil,
Okay.
and I learned quite a few years ago that I put it on here and on here. So I do the opposite, put it
Okay.
on opposite on my temples.
Okay.
And I use citronella oil anytime I have a presentation or an interview, or
Oh.
yes, because it actually is wonderful for calcium signaling, which I found out. And
Oh.
that's really, yes, important for the brain. And it's for,
Very.
yeah, very important. And I rotate brain, usually my brain um, collection, if you will.
Okay. What's in your brain collection? What kind of
Yeah.
oils do you use to support your brain?
So I I have little things like combos,
Okay.
or either for just smelling, just inhaling, or the diffuser, or topically.
Okay.
And so I have things like juniper berry and cypress,
Ooh.
which is excellent for focus, for attention, and for also mood enhancement, but in a relaxed way.
Okay.
So that's one of them. I had a whole list here I was going to tell you. Here we go.
Okay.
Eucalyptus and peppermint combination is one of my favorites. Again, it increases focus and it decreases brain fog.
Okay.
So that's important because there's been a lot of brain fog during the pandemic.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of cognitive decline. I love rosemary and lemon.
Oh.
Rosemary and lemon is fantastic for concentration.
Okay.
And so I do a lot of talking, as
Yeah.
as my husband used to say. And it's I I have to be on top of it. So I use these oils all the time when I'm presenting. Um, And frankincense and sandalwood is a great combination as well for anti-inflammatory. Everything is the brain, of course. We know that.
Right.
I think those are the ones. But what I do want to just mention, because I think this is important. One of the things I discovered, and in fact, when I came to New Jersey, I presented Aegis Grace Aroma,
Okay.
which was a seminar, 4-hour seminar, and I did it two times there, like back to back. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I do.
And when I was researching that, how I could combine the brain body program with the essential oils in their categories of energy or cardio or relaxation or brain on or whatever, I discovered a study that has really been a big thing for me in the work that I do. And that's a study that was in Germany, somebody by the name of Hummel. I don't know if you know about that study. It was done in 2009. And
Okay.
I've been doing the work that I'm doing since 2013 with the brain. So it's a substantial amount of time now. I'm sorry, 2011.
Okay.
2011, I started. So it was just 2 years later, and I found this study on PubMed, and they have what they call a smell training. And
Interesting.
it's a smell training center, and we know how important smell is.
Right.
And we know also that people during COVID lost sense of smell
Oh, yeah.
from COVID, due to COVID, and even ones who have long-term COVID have still have a loss of sense of smell, which is anosmia, is the total loss of sense of smell, or hyposmia, which is partial.
Okay.
So what they found, they did this big research study in Germany at the smell center, is they used smell sticks. And I forget the exact demographic, but they were people that were, I believe, had hyposmia. They didn't have full
Okay.
loss of sense of smell. And they used 4 oils. And the 4 oils were rose, which is floral. They have something called the odor prism. I don't know
Okay.
if
Odor prism. Okay.
odor prism, and there's 6 odors, but they used 4. One of them is floral, which was the rose. The other was the second was lemon, not in any order. Lemon,
Okay.
which is fruity. That's the odor. Clove, which was aromatic.
Okay.
And eucalyptus, which was resinous.
Oh,
The
okay.
other 2 that they didn't use were foul and burnt.
Oh, okay.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I work with people with Parkinson's disease
Yeah.
and also with Alzheimer's. So sometimes either one of them, but it's very common in Parkinson's to lose sense of smell, anosmia or hyposmia. So I started using those oils with these people, and I brought back at least 3 people who had total anosmia, couldn't smell anything. And within, I'm going to say, about less than 6 weeks,
Wow.
I,
That's
I
incredible.
brought them
That's
back to
fast. Yeah.
smelling everything,
Everything.
everything, no more loss. And so,
I'm curious, did it affect their loss of taste too? Like when the smell came back, did the taste come back, or they're not really related?
they weren't related. No, I asked them the same question. Did you lose your, because some people do lose both.
Okay.
The people in those circumstances, they were all Parkinson's people that had been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And that's one of the first things that diagnosticians, that neurologists can tell that they have Parkinson's,
Yeah.
is from their anosmia or hyposmia. But I thought that, and now I just went up and I started to look last night for this study, because I thought, I'm having a little interview with Carrie there, and I saw that they updated the same
Oh,
study for COVID. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
okay.
They found the same results, that people were just within, I think it was 8 weeks, completely regained the sense of smell.
That's tremendous. And because without smell, the world is not the same, right? It's part of our and I assume it would affect your brain function too if you can't smell.
Oh, well, what happens is that once first of all, people don't understand we smell with our whole body, because
Oh,
our skin is our biggest organ, and it absorbs all the smells around us, good, bad, or ugly, and toxic.
okay.
So if we are in an environment where people are wearing a lot of perfume or cologne or whatever, we don't only smell it through our nostrils, but we smell it through our skin. So what happens is it goes immediately, as you know, to the limbic system in the brain, and it affects the memory.
Oh.
So that's the
Can
main.
you talk to people about your passion against perfume
Oh,
a little bit? Because I know you've studied this. I know that it pains you when you smell it on people and people spend all this money on it. But for those people who are not all that educated on essential oils, what is the difference between candle scents and really expensive perfumes, right? Like some bottles of perfume are thousands of dollars, and then a pure essential oil. Like why does it matter what we smell?
oh my gosh. Well, I just told you one big reason you lose your memory, and everybody's concerned about that.
Right.
Um, Yeah, I am passionate about it and I'm quite vocal about it wherever I go to because I feel people need to know that I always say you, you to be well, to be healthy, you're either going to do something that's going to heal you or
Mm-hmm.
steal from you. It's heal or
Deal or
steal.
steal. I like that.
Heal or steal. And it's everything you put in your mouth, everything you smell, every word you say is going
Mm.
to affect your brain, and your brain affects your body, and your body affects your brain constantly. So, with the perfume situation, what happened to me was prior to the pandemic, I was working in many different facilities. One facility in particular, I worked there 4 days a week, which is in my city where I live in. It's the city center. What was happening was I was teaching classes. My one class every Tuesday had over 100 people in it.
Okay.
And I would say to them, I started to cough and I couldn't breathe. And I literally got asthma, a mild form of asthma because I use Litsea and I use peppermint and I use eucalyptus and I put them on my stove in a little bit of water and steam it. And it works for me because I love the steam.
Oh
But
yeah.
anyway, I digress. So I'd say to them, I can't tell you what to do when you're outside of my class, but I'm making a request for you to please not spray, not use any, and it's not just the perfume I explained to them, it's the creams that they put on, it's this hairspray, it's so many different factors, honestly. And so they'd say, yeah, okay. And then the next Tuesday would come, and I was doing 4 classes like this a week would come, and I'd go like, and that's how I would walk into the class like that. And they would say, oh, there she goes again, And I say, well, I guess you forgot about my special request that I want not just for me but for you as well. And the problem is that 90% of them have cognitive decline and
Mm.
have memory loss. So it's such a neural pathway that's repeated every day because they've been spraying and spritzing and putting on and all whatever for so long that they can't break that cycle and they can't understand that that is just literally going to kill them. I mean, that's the
That's
bottom line.
that's incredible. And yeah, I think of all the things I've applied and sprayed over the years that I don't do anymore. Much to the benefit of all of the things you've taught me for sure. But just you think these micro moments aren't going to make a difference, but
Oh,
they do,
they
right?
are the moments. They are the moments because they're cumulative.
Yeah,
And then people don't realize that all of a sudden one day they get a diagnosis and they don't know why.
right.
And it's rampant. People, people always quote like when I go in an elevator, I can't stand it. But then when you go out of the elevator, you're okay.
Right.
No, you've got it already absorbed it everywhere in your skin, in your brain. And the brain is my concern because that's everything. We are what our brain is, and we are what the brain is connecting to everything that we do.
I love that. I love that. And I think it would be beautiful if people, especially people who struggle, with getting started with their health, right? It seems to me that using a few oils on and how would you use them? So I have the oil suggestions that you've given us for the brain. Give me a simple routine that anyone who's brand new could start doing today.
So, well, of course, start just by inhaling something like frankincense or something like lemon or something like rosemary or something like eucalyptus, because even if you don't think you've lost your sense of smell, people are walking around, don't know it. And then they go to a Thanksgiving party, and so everybody's saying, oh, that turkey smells so good. What turkey?
And they can't smell
The
it.
other thing is, if there's a fire in your house,
Oh,
you're out of luck because you can't smell. So, I mean, it's dangerous as well. So, that would be my first thing, starting with one of those oils. They're strong smelling oils.
okay.
They're a nice mix of the different odor prism, and they work on the brain. I know that. I've seen it. I've done it. I've done it with myself, and I've done it with clients. I would say you can smell it through the bottle.
Yeah,
You can get a diffuser. All of those, as we know, are ingestible too.
right.
So you can, swallow a little at a time, just start that way, but start with the inhalation topically wherever you wanted. One of the other things is I have very low blood pressure.
Okay.
So rosemary is incredible for that. It's a great vasodilator, and it helps with memory. We know that from
Yes, it
history.
does. Yeah. Shakespeare
Yeah.
wrote about that. Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
Shakespeare was one of the later people who did this. So Thomas More, there's somebody, I forget who it was, a Greek doctor, Osiderus or something like
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
who was BC, was recommending in very old, they put it like an old Greek translated into old English, uh,
Yeah.
rosemary for remembrance. So it's a great thing for memory. If people are starting to have brain fog, if people are stopping to remember things. Now, I mean, there is a certain amount that's normal,
Hmm.
especially if you're living in overwhelm, as we all are.
Okay.
People are totally overwhelmed. They're not sleeping well. They're not managing their stress well. They've got too much to do. They're not getting things done, and they're cluttered, brain and house and wherever. Use one of these to help that fog and help that memory, because people then start to get, when they forget something or forget a name or forget a book that they were reading or whatever, they start to get anxious, and they
Mm,
start to accumulate some stress
okay.
because they think that they're getting dementia, and that's not necessarily the case.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would start with those oils. Citronella is another great, that's my favorite of the
Okay.
moment. Um, and frankincense,
Right.
you can't go wrong with frankincense. It's just an amazing all-round excellent oil. And then, blend it and use it in your diffuser, with whichever, with sandalwood. That's a great combo. With the juniper and the cypress, that's another great combo.
And so in your opinion, like are any oils okay, or do you have a particular brand that you like? Like what made you what's
I,
given you your collection right now? What oils are you using?
I love doTERRA. doTERRA is it. I talk about doTERRA all the time and uh, how well it's done for me and my family. And yeah, to me, that's it. That's it. We know that 98%, this is on my toxicity road,
Yeah.
you know that 98% of the stuff that is sold all over the place in so-called health stores and what have
Ours,
you,
yeah.
is toxic and has fillers and has pollutants and has all kinds of things. So we know that doTERRA is pure and it's therapeutic and that it's clean. And I've never had an issue. I've had one time that I was allergic, and that's to sandalwood.
Okay.
So I can only smell it. I can't put it on topically. It for
Okay.
something in sandalwood does not agree with me.
And that
So
might happen to someone because we're all different, right? Like we may find that there are smells that we really gravitate toward that work effectively and quickly on us and others we don't really care for. Is there an oil? I mean, I know you don't like to use that, but is there an oil you can't stand the smell? You're like, I'm just putting that one to the side.
I use it, but I don't love the smell, and that's Melaleuca.
Melaleuca, okay. So also known as tea tree now for
Tea
people who
tree. Yeah,
are
tea tree, tea
yeah, it's
tree.
got a
Yeah.
very astringent, super clean, but yeah, it can be a
Yeah,
little
it's funky.
funky. Yeah.
Yes, it's a funky smell. Yeah,
Oh
that
my
is.
gosh. Well, that I mean, I could, we could go on for hours, right? And
Yes.
unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time. So this is a taste for our audience to get to know you. As Lana said, she's a brain expert. She came up with, I think you're the only one doing this type of brain work in the essential oil space. You've always been a trailblazer. She's also a trainer in many different modalities, including Ageless Grace, which I know you mentioned a couple of times. So check that out. She's also a speaker. So if you're looking for someone to talk at your next conference or help your audience get up and moving, Lana would be
Brain
fantastic.
breaks.
And brain breaks. So even, yeah, how cool is that? When was the last boring office meeting you went to where they said, let's do a really good, healthy brain break exercise? So if you own a company or a small business, even, please reach out to Lana. All of her contact information is in the description of this video. But we end our podcast with 10 questions a la The Actor Studio, which was one of my favorite shows. I don't know if you had the
Oh,
chance to
sure.
watch it or you were living in this country at the time, but the
I've
idea
seen
is,
it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, great.
yeah.
So I want to, before we end, because I want the audience to hang on your every last word as we close today. But I do want to thank you not only for being here on the podcast, which means so much to me and brings me a joyful memory, but just for your many, many years of friendship and tutelage and inspiration and partnership. It's really been, just a beautiful beginning. I feel like this is a beginning. We have still many more years ahead to run in
Well,
this space. So,
likewise, and thank you, Kerry, for all your mentorship and all your help and support. I really appreciate you.
oh, you're so welcome. And if you need an example of someone who's aging backwards, just look at Lana because she's actually has shown us through the years how she's getting younger and younger as the years go on. It's amazing. It's an amazing journey you've been on. But let's get to those fun questions. So,
All right.
favorite smell doesn't have to be an essential oil.
Console,
Okay. A smell you hate.
Melaleuca, tea tree oil,
What brings you your greatest sense of peace?
um, meditation.
What irritates you the most?
Ooh. Um, can't think of one word though.
You
Like
can say, you can describe it.
Inauthentic.
Oh, being inauthentic. So, fake people.
Fake people. Yeah.
What's your favorite character trait in a human being?
Transparency.
Mm. What's your favorite guilty pleasure?
Oh, it's a two-word.
Okay.
Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs. I love it. What's the last food you'd like to eat before you die?
Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs. Double answer. Maybe we have a new
Oh,
spokesperson for them.
yeah.
If you had a magic wand and you could eradicate any disease or illness, which would you eradicate first?
Alzheimer's.
Beautiful. If I gave you $500 and you could only spend it or use it in one place, where would it be?
It has to be one word.
No, you can tell
Oh,
us.
oh, I'd give it to my daughter.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. And now, one word that you'd like to leave the audience as a gift.
Neuroplasticity.
Wonderful. Go look it up. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you, Carrie.